Hi everyone, welcome back. So now we're going to be going into repeatable testing. So you've chosen a solution you want to test. Option A was the best one. I want to test it. Because before this, it's all been in your head. You put some numbers on paper, you've kind of thought about it, but you haven't done any real tests. You haven't tried to build it, you haven't tried to implement it, it's all been in your head. Now we go and actually check and see if it's going to work. We build a prototype, we try out the method, whatever it is, and we test it. Now, a good way to walk through this to make sure you do it in a repeatable manner is something called period analysis. It's got a nice acronym and it makes it pretty easy to walk through. So first off, P is for parameters. What variables are important? When it comes to variables, we have the independent, dependent, and control variables. So independent variables, you change to see its effect. You want to see what happens when you change them. Dependent, you watch to see it change. Okay? The independent affect the dependent. The dependent depend on the independent variables. In reality, what this looks like a lot of times is usually the x-axis is the independent and the y-axis is the dependent. And then you have the control variable, because most times it's not just one variable that controls everything. You have hundreds of variables, and to make sure you can understand what's going on, you have to control those variables. Make sure that they stay constant while you're looking at the effect of one particular variable. If you don't, you're gonna have issues. So control variables, you hold things constant to avoid its effect. You're trying to make it repeatable. That's a word we're gonna come back to quite often. Repeatability, repeatable. Okay. As I like to note, this is myth busting at its finest. Remember, everybody, the only difference between being crazy and being a scientist is writing down your work. Okay, E. E is for establish, and this is going to be establish, arrange to test. Now let's say that this is the data that you've actually tested so far. Well, you don't really know what happens. Is it going to drop down now? Is it going to kind of level off and continue to increase? You don't know. But you can't test your variables to infinity. You just can't go that far. And so you're going to have to stop at some point. In this case, we really don't have enough information to know where it's going to go next. So we would want to go until it plateaus or drops back down until we see some sort of change. Unless this is the only section where we actually care. If this is all it's ever going to be tested in, this is the total of all of its possibilities for the future, it will never have a weight greater than this upon it. It will never go faster than this. Then you're good. But if you don't really know what the limits are, then you have to test until you really have a good understanding of what the overall performance is going to be. Okay. Then repetition. How many times do you do a test? Because there's always variation. Look at this. Let's say that you are a marksman. You shot once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. You're going around, you're not hitting the target on the bullseye every single time. If you did, amazing. But most times you don't. And so because of that, you're going to have this variation. So by averaging all of those shots together, you can get a better idea of what your overall performance usually is. You don't just take the best, you don't just take the worst. You have to average it together. As a note, there are 2 terms that are typically used for this. Accuracy and precision when you come to talking about variation in your tests. Precision says how close are all my shots together. It doesn't really care about how close they are to the bullseye, but did you hit the same spot every single time? If you did, it's precise. Accuracy is how close am I to the bullseye. I was hoping to hit here. How often did I do that? How close was I to the bullseye? The closer I am, the more accurate I am. They don't have to be the same thing. So precision, how close are my shots together? Accuracy, how close am I to that bullseye over there that I want to hit? Okay, with that, I think we've hit enough. And I will see you next time where we finish up period analysis. Have a good day. Bye-bye.